This is kind of an introductory session on all things at DeVry. So it could be a refresher course if you've only taken 1 or 2 classes. It could be a new course if you've not taken any or if you're returning. So I'm just going to go over some things that hopefully will help you navigate through the course for this term. And this applies to whatever course you're taking. There will be some things that will be specific to this course, but I'll point those out and give you some tips and tricks on things to do. So you can see on my screen, this is what you see when you log into Canvas. You'll be using Canvas for the entire course, and you'll be using Canvas for any course that you take at DeVry. Canvas has, as you can see, there's this main Canvas menu on the far left side. It's a way where you can get to, if you have multiple courses, you can click on here and see what courses you have, so you can go between them. You have a calendar. The inbox here, I'm going to open it in another tab, is your DeVry University email address. So it is not your personal email address, and the emails here typically do not flow to any other email. It stays within DeVry. So within here, you can look at the courses you have so that you can select the specific course you want to email regarding. You can also have your inbox, just like any other email, unread, sent messages, archive, things like that. The other thing you can do is if you create compose an email, you can select the course. Okay, so let's select this course. Now, you will only have one data analysis with spreadsheet with lab, and it'll be this course here. I have 2 because I'm still finishing up the course I was teaching from last term. But once you select that course, you then can come in here and you can see the teachers, okay, which would be me, but you can also see all of your students. So if you wanted to communicate with your students, you can do so within here, and you can see there are 60 people taking this course, 60 other students. So the one thing about an online course that is completely different from an on-campus course is the direct interaction you can have with your classmates. Now, we have time in our Engagely Live sessions where you can interact with your students, but the opportunities to just have a conversation with them, meet them in the cafeteria before or after class, things like that, very difficult to do in an online. But in this scenario here, what you could do is you could email all your students, and you can introduce yourself, and you could say, listen, I live in this time zone, and I'm interested in forming a study group. And then you can connect with some students and possibly, more than likely, be more successful in the class as opposed to just working the class yourself. But this is where you would email and from within Canvas. And like I said, these only exist in Canvas. Okay, so they don't exist outside of Canvas. Then here's another important icon, the help icon. There's a ton of resources that DeVry University has set up for students. Now, the first one is the Student Resource Center. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And here you're going to see there are 3 tabs. There are 3 sections. There's the technology section, there's the education section, and then still existing the COVID-19 support section. But the technology section, or the technology resources, tons of information about the technology requirements for this course. Now, I want to point out that in the past, there has always been a couple of students that have tried to be successful in this class without using a laptop or a desktop. In other words, they're trying to use like a Chromebook. There are several features in this class that are not going to work in a Chromebook. We're going to be using Excel extensively, and there are functions, features within Excel that do not work on a Chromebook. So you need to have some form of access to a computer. Now, I will tell you that if all you have is a Chromebook, then you can use the DeVry desktop. And I have recorded another session that I'll publish that is on using the DeVry desktop. Now, the DeVry desktop is a virtual computer. So what you would do is you can use any computer. You can use a Chromebook, you can use a laptop, a desktop, a Mac, a Windows computer, whatever. You basically click on the DeVry desktop in the Canvas class menu, and it's going to take you to a virtual desktop. And once you're there, you're running everything in the cloud, and it has access to all the software that you will ever need at DeVry. You have the ability to save files, to upload files. You can run your projects in the cloud. You can do everything you need to do using the DeVry desktop. This is great, like I said, if you only have a Chromebook or something like that. But also, let's say you're using an older desktop or an older laptop, or you have some issues with your desktop or laptop, and it's not running as fast as you want to. As long as you have a good, strong internet connection, once you go to the DeVry desktop, all of the resources are used in the cloud. So it uses very little resources on your computer, and you'll get the performance, the features and functionality of a very powerful computer in the cloud. Here's information on how to use your student email. I'm trying to see anything else that might apply to this class. Great resources, tools that you can use. Read speaker, meaning if you learn like I do, I learn from listening, not so much from reading. So you can use the read function within Canvas to read lessons to you, read projects to you, things like that. So that's the technology. Now, the educational resources. So there's the DeVry Student Handbook. You are going to be required to do some APA formatting for in-text citations and resources published stating your resources if you're using any resource outside of the course material for any of your discussion posts. So this is a great resource on APA formatting. Here's a video and tutorial on using Canvas. We do not have the typical ebook, so you don't have to worry about that. The library services are a phenomenal resource for researching material, getting additional information on the subjects that we're going to be going over, and also the tutoring functions at DeVry. And there's ways to schedule with a tutor, submit information, submit a request, schedule time to be with a tutor. So those are all of the educational resources that are available at DeVry. Let's go back to our help menu. Again, they have a separate session on getting started with the DeVry desktop. I suggest if you're considering using it, you go through this. Another key resource is the technical support. Now, DeVry technical support is available 24/7, and they give you 3 modes of reaching out to them, which is fantastic. The first one, obviously, you can call them. So you can call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number's published here, and then you'll be in a queue. Sometimes it's very, very short. Sometimes it might be a little bit longer, but it'll let you know where you are in the queue. And then when somebody's available, they'll connect with you, and then they can work with you. The feature I really like is the live chat. So you can continue doing what you're doing. You've got a chat session open, and you can communicate with them. You can ask them questions. You can tell them what your issue is. They will work with you. In either way, calling them or on the live chat, they have the ability to with your approval, they can take control of your computer and they can help you fix whatever the issue is. Now, the issue can be anything from my mouse isn't working to I can't get into my course, or there's an error message that I don't understand. They will work with you on all of those things. So don't feel like you have to struggle through technology issues on your own. You are not on your own. There's a huge support system behind you to help you be successful in this class, and the DeVry University Tech Support is just one of them. Now, the other feature that is really great, let's say you've got a set amount of time to work on your class assignment, you start working on it, and then you run into a problem. Well, you don't have time now to work with tech support. What you can do is you can request assistance. And what that gives you is the ability to submit a ticket and then say, I would like somebody to contact me on Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or whatever it is. And they will work to make sure that somebody calls you right around that time frame to connect with you to help you on your issue. So you can schedule a time slot with tech support when it is more convenient for you. And then, of course, the self-help is available just like everywhere else. But those are great resources that are available. Again, don't feel like you have to struggle through technical issues. DeVry Tech Support is there available for you. Let me close this. Let's go back to our help menu. Now, life is going to happen, right? So we understand that while you're more than likely a full-time student, that's not your only responsibility. We understand this. So DeVry has set up this student link well-being resource, which is all kinds of resources that are available to the students for everything and anything that might be impacting them or impeding them on being successful in their academic studies. From emotional support, well-being, helping with work-life balance, school balance, managing stress, financial resources. Unfortunately, every term, every professor has at least one or two students reaching out because they have some sort of life issue that is impacting them and causing them to or preventing them from being successful in the class. And so as professors, we try to reach out, we try to be compassionate, we try to be understanding, we give leniency when we can, but we can only do so much. But there are a ton of other resources. Just click on this, there's a video, and then there's all sorts of information available for those resources that you might need during the course of your academic studies at DeVry. So those are the resources that are available in the main menu. Now, you're going to live mostly in the Canvas menu for your class. So you'll see your class title up here, BIS 155. Your first discussion post is going to be about the syllabus. So you want to click in here and read what the syllabus is about. I have information about myself, the course material. It outlines the course objectives. It goes through the schedule week by week. It shows you the assignments, and then the grading. It's on a point system, and the maximum points is 1,000. That's 100%. And I like to look at it this way. I like to look at it that you've already have the 1,000 points. You just want to work to not lose too many points, as opposed to thinking it's an uphill battle where you're starting at 0 and you've got to earn 1,000 points. Try to look at it where you already have the 1,000 points. You just have to make sure you lose as few points as possible. And then it goes on to the grading and other policies within DeVry that match up with the student handbook. We want everyone to be respectful online. Make sure that you're communicating with your students and your professor in a respectful manner. Watch your implied tone in your messages. You don't want to use all uppercase. You want to ask questions appropriately. Just be respectful. Um, and then a little bit about it explains about the live lessons. So the live lessons are not required. You are not required. You don't get credit for being in a live lesson. What you do get is it applies towards your attendance and your engagement. But I've seen students, they log into the live lesson and then they're not there. They just think that as long as they're there, that gives them their credit. Well, there is no credit for attending a live lesson. You do get engagement. It applies towards your engagement and your attendance, but the benefit is by engaging in the live lesson. Now, if you can't, all live lessons are recorded, and I'll show you how you can get to the recordings just the same way if you're watching this recording or you're attending this live lesson, very similar way that you got to the live lesson. Again, with the live lessons, you want to be respectful. If at all possible, turn your camera on. Professors love to see the students as opposed to just talking to a screen. It's nice to see your faces. But when you log in, you want to have your mic muted and keep your mic muted until you're going to speak, and you can use the features within Engagely to raise your hand. That will show the professor that you have a question. A lot of times the professors will just say, I know I do. I don't really watch the icons when I'm giving my live lesson. So I just say, hey, if you have a question, just come off of mute and stop me and say, hey, Professor K, I got a question, or I don't understand this, or what about this? And then we'll have an interactive session. That's what it's all about. Late work, it depends on your professor. For my class, I'm more interested in you learning than in meeting deadlines. So I will keep all of the assignments open until the last day of class. Now, obviously, you don't want to wait till the last day of class to do your assignments, because I'm going to give you feedback, especially on the discussions. And so the discussions cannot be extended. So you have to do your posts during the week of the discussion. And every week there's discussion requirements, and you have to meet those requirements in order to get full credit for the discussion. And it has to be during that week. But all of your assignments and your projects, I will leave open until the end of the term. And if you submit it and you didn't get full credit and you want to go back, I allow you to go back and redo it and try to increase your points. Again, it's all about gaining the knowledge, not necessarily just meeting the deadline. Okay. But don't let it go too long, because things will pile up and it will be difficult to get caught up. The discussion posts, a couple of things about those, and I will be posting more information about them in the announcements. Every post, you need to add value to the discussion. So the first thing you have to do is you have to answer the question or questions that have been presented. Then you are required to have 2 additional posts on 2 separate days, either continuing the initial post you had, like adding more information, or responding to your classmates. Now, the minimum requirement is a minimum of 3 sentences long, and they have to add value. So just saying, I like your post, great post, thank you for posting, not going to cut it. You have to provide value. If you like someone's post, then explain why you like it. If you thought it was interesting, explain why you thought it was interesting. You can add more context to a student's post. You can also respectfully challenge a student's post. If they may state something, you may say, well, I tend to disagree because I think it's this way, or here's some supporting information that says that it might not be that way. That's what discussions are all about. So make sure that your posts are adding value to the discussion, and they're a minimum of 3 complete sentences long. Now, the other requirement that I have is your first post must be on or before Wednesday, midnight Mountain Time. Now, all of your posts are monitored. All of your assignments technically are monitored based on Mountain Time. So if the post is for week 1, then Wednesday of week 1 by Mountain Time, you need to make sure you have your first post in. Otherwise, you will lose a couple of points for not meeting the deadline of Wednesday. Then you have to post 2 other separate days. And again, look at the Mountain time zone. So if you're in Eastern time zone, right? That gives you a little bit more time later in or earlier in the morning to post because of Mountain Time being 2 hours behind Eastern. But if you're on the Pacific time zone and you post at midnight, you're going to be 1 hour late because it's Mountain Time. So please look at everything according to Mountain Standard Time. Of course, your material needs to come from yourself or reference material. If you're using any outside reference material, you want to make sure that you state that at the end of your post just by doing an APA reference of the material that you used. I encourage the use of AI to supplement me, right? Because you don't have full access to me 24/7. You can always text me, but professors are not always available, right? So if you have a question, ask AI a question. If you need further explanation on something or something's not working, ask AI. Use it as a learning tool. Now, obviously, you don't want to ask AI to generate a post that's cheating, and that's you're in jeopardy of an academic integrity violation. And I do review my post or the posts that I'm grading to see if there's been what appears to be any generative AI use in creating the post. And then I'll discuss that with you and we'll get clarification on that. But I strongly advise using some form of AI. It's no different than using the help function within Excel or any Microsoft or any Windows application or Mac application. It's no different than using a reference book. If you use generative AI the same way, you ask it a question, you get information, you can have it expand on it, you can tell it things that's happening. You're getting an error message, it will explain to you what's going on. So I strongly advise that. Again, now in this class, academic integrity potential comes in another format, and I'll get into that a little bit more later on. But basically, we have what's called our projects are used in an application called SimNet, and SimNet basically gives you an environment where you get a start file and maybe a resource file, and that will be an Excel-based start file. You're going to work your project, and then you're going to submit your project for grading. Well, SimNet expects you to download the file, you to work on the file, and you to upload the file. If anyone else is involved in any one of those 3 steps, it will automatically produce an academic integrity violation. Your first name dot last name is inserted into the file name, but more than that, your name and your student ID is embedded into the file. So you can't just change the file name. It's embedded in the file, and SimNet will detect that someone else was involved in that process. So you must download the file, you must work on the file, and you must be the one to upload the file. Otherwise, it'll produce a potential academic integrity violation. The professor will be contacted. Then the professor is going to have to work with you to figure out what happened. So, but go through this, read the syllabus, get some information, because your first post is to discuss what you expect to get out of this class. And I don't want to see just copying this section up here, which is the syllabus. Don't copy and paste this. Give me what your interpretation is of the course description and what you expect to get out of the class. The next area is the announcements. And if you've already been in here, you've seen that there have been some announcements. There's been an announcement on accessing SimNet. Uh, there's invitation to connect to faculty members, uh, uh, responsible use of AI. I asked everyone to introduce yourself, so please take a moment and reply to this. I will review these and I will add my comments and thank you for introducing yourself and maybe ask you some questions. Here's a great announcement. It's also here in the BIS 155 learning schedule. And here it shows you the schedule for this semester for all of the live lessons. Now, this is what's called a team teach class, where there are a number of professors teaching the same class in different sections. So I think there's over 1,100 plus students taking this course this term. And so you can see on Monday at this time frame, Dr. Jones is teaching this class, having a live lesson every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And she's going to be using a Windows computer. In fact, all of the professors use a Windows computer. I do my session on Friday using a Mac computer, for those of you that are using a Mac. And then Dr. Wilborn has his Saturday lab session using a Windows, and then I have my Sunday lab session using a Mac or Windows. Basically, my Sunday session is more of a homework huddle. Let's get together, talk about any questions you have about the previous week or the upcoming week, or if you want to talk about technology or whatever you want to talk about, I'm there to discuss that. So great resource. There's all the schedules. It's posted right there. It's also in the announcement, and I will be publishing announcements throughout the term. Like when I finish grading a week, I'll post the announcement. If I note that there's some common questions about an assignment or a project or a discussion post, I'll post those in there. So you want to stay on top of your announcements. The next session is where when I was a student at DeVry and Keller, I lived in my module section, right? Because if you click on modules, you can see first it has some information. This is where we get to our engagement class. Okay, every week, whenever you want to attend either a live lesson or a homework huddle, any of those in the schedule, you want to go into this link and click on here. But there's also more information about course resources, how to complete a SimNet project, various things, how to get to DeVry tutors. And again, here's where we're going to join the live lesson. Okay. Now, each week is the modules are broken out. So here's week 1, and there's a lesson. There's always discussion activities. There's an assignment. And then for the first 3 weeks, there's a pulse survey. And the pulse survey is just our way of asking you, is the class proceeding how you expected it to proceed? Would you like to see something different? Would you like to see something changed? The responses are important to us because DeVry does take them very seriously. And with the pulse surveys, we have an opportunity to make adjustments during that course. Now, there's an end of course survey, but by the time we get those, it's the end of the course. And any adjustments that might come about from your comments wouldn't affect this term. They would affect subsequent terms. But the pulse surveys are very important. And like I said, they're in weeks 1, 2, and 3. But each week is the same. You can see it. Lesson, discussion activity, assignments, and then a pulse survey. And it continues on for 3 weeks. And then week 4, you're going to see there's no more pulse surveys, but you have the lesson, the discussion, and then the assignment. Okay. Pardon me. So that's the modules. Now, the other section that you're going to want to focus on is the grading section. So I'm going to click on the grades, but then I'm going to switch to the well, it's not letting me. Why is it not? Okay. Well, uh, Canvas has changed. It used to let me uh, view this as a student. But anyway, if you go into your, first of all, anytime there's a new grade, you're going to see that there's a new grade here. You want to stay on top of your grades. The reason is because all professors will provide comments and feedback in your grades. And especially with the discussion posts, especially in the beginning while you're getting used to um, posting in the discussions, the professors will provide you with feedback on, at least what I do is I tell you what you were supposed to do. I will show you what you did do. And then if you miss the mark a little bit, I will explain to you what you need to do differently to increase your chances of getting full credit next week. Now, unfortunately, like I said, the discussions are due on that week and there's no extension. So by the time you get the full feedback from me, you can only really apply that for the next week. But make sure you look at those grades so that you can make changes for the next week. Let's see. So that's the grades. You can click on your discussions and it'll just show you all the discussions. So you can go in there. Obviously, week 1 is right here, and it opens up March 1st. The same with the week 1 course objectives. So you can start working with them right out of the discussions. File sections. The file section, you can see that there's going to be, there's a folder called course documents, and here's some standard information, and then I will be providing additional updated information as the term progresses, and I'll tell you when I've posted them or put them in the file section. Again, people section is just like in your inbox. You can see here's all the students in the class. You can message them individually. You can message them as a group. There are no group assignments in this term, so everything is done individually. Let's see. Here's how you get to the DeVry desktop. And that's, yep, that's, so pretty much you're gonna live and work in the module section, right? Week by week. If you want to attend a live session or watch a recording, you're going to go into here. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to open this in a new tab. The same thing. It always opens up it'll open up, provide you with a link, and then if you click on that, it'll open up in a separate window. And here, so join the live lesson here, okay? But here is where you will join the playback room. And the playback room is within about an hour, hour and a half after every live session ends, the recording will be in the playback room. And there you can, watch the recording at your leisure. The nice thing about the playback room is it allows you to, you can speed up or slow down or pause the recording. So it's great if you're using the recording as an additional training session on the course material or the project. You can pause it, you can slow it down, you can follow along. I don't suggest that you follow along by trying to do the project when the professors are going over the project, because it's too easy to get lost. What you should do is focus on what the professor is saying and doing, and then later on come back and then do the project and use the recording if you want to. But that's how you will join the playback room right here. Okay. Couple of tips. If you don't already have a second monitor, I strongly advise that you see if you can't secure a second monitor, especially when you're in the SimNet. Let me go into one of the SimNet projects. So let's say I go into modules and I go down to week 1, and here is my SimNet, the project for week 1. I'm going to click on that. It's going to give you the opportunity to see some information about SimNet. There's always a video about how to complete a SimNet course or a SimNet project. But basically, at the bottom of this is a link. You click on that, and it's going to open up another tab. Now, this window you will not see. This is for the professors to use. You will see this window come up. And you know what? I'm going to have to go to another one because this one's not available. Hold on one second. Let me come out of here. Let me go here. Let me open this one up. This is last term. Let me go into here, and I'll go down to week 1. Okay, again, SimNet video. Click on here. You're not going to see this window. The professors see this, but this is what you see. And so SimNet, every SimNet project is the same way. There's a download section, there's an upload section, and then there's a submit section. Okay. So the download section has the files you need to work with. Now in this one particular project, there's only one file. You can see there's only a single link. If there are more than one file, you'll have an opportunity to either download each file individually manually, or there's an option to download all of the files. Now, if you download all of the files, they will download individually. Here, I'll download this one. You see that it goes into the download section here. I can go into File Explorer, and there's my file. You can see that it inserted my first name dot last name into the file. Okay, and this is the file that I'll be working with. I'm going to publish a video on some tips about starting, if you're not already starting to use some better file management strategies. You don't want to typically work with things in your downloads. It's easy to get confused. In SimNet, you are limited on the number of attempts you have, and an attempt is you work the file, you upload it, and you submit it for grading. Now, if you received less than what you expect to get, 100%, an A, a B, or whatever your target is, if you receive less than that, then you can go back and it'll give you instructions on what you missed, what you were supposed to do, what it was expecting you to do, and it guides you on what you need to do to correct it. Then you can save your file after making those changes, re-upload it, and resubmit it. But there are limits on the number of attempts. So you don't want to inadvertently grab the wrong file because you got it confused with some other downloaded file. So take a moment and watch my video. I will post it later on about file management strategies, how you can organize your files to be more successful, keep things organized, and less chance of grabbing the wrong file. Once you grade it or submit it for grading, if you did not get 100%, it will list here all of the mistakes that it found, and then give you an opportunity to correct those mistakes. You will see that SimNet recognized that I'm using a Windows computer, and so it flagged all of these instructions to be for a Windows computer. If I flip this over to Mac, it will change these instructions based on a Mac computer. Okay, so and you can start your project on a Windows and then finish it on a Mac or vice versa. It doesn't matter. I will tell you this, that probably 95% or more of all of the instructions are the same regardless of what computer you're using. There are just some nuances with keyboard shortcuts and where things might be located in Excel. And again, my Friday session is using a Mac computer, and I'll go over that in detail for anybody who's using a Mac computer. But the same process for all of the SimNet projects. Now, every week, professors will go over information about the projects to help prepare you and guide you through the project. and then they're available for questions and to help and assist. Except for week 8. Week 8, there is a capstone project, and that's an independent project. None of the professors will be going over a step-by-step lab um, recording or a live lesson on the project. We are expecting that you will work that independently on your own. What some professors do, I know I do, week 8, I'll provide you with a recap of what is going to be expected on the capstone project. And it's from everything that we have gone over weeks 1 through week 7. There will be no new material on the capstone project. Let's see. So that takes care of library. We went over the discussions. So that's how you navigate Canvas. Like I said, you'll be living in Canvas. If you have more than one course that you're taking this term, they will appear in your published courses, and you can, pop between them. Anything that is new will appear as a new icon here. Grades or announcements will all be new as they appear. You can also set up your settings within Canvas so that you can get notifications. Here's let me come down here. I'm looking, they've moved it. Let me see where it is. Language. Okay. It's now under your account. And if you go to settings, okay, within settings, you have the ability to change some of the settings within Canvas. One of them, let me see where let me come over here. Well, I'm not finding. I am not finding. There's a section on notifications so that you can, and I'll find where it is, and then I will send an announcement showing it. But there's a way in Canvas where you can set it up. Do I want to get a email notification? And when do I want to get an email notification, and for what purpose? So you can get an email notification when your grade changes, when there's an announcement, when something in the course changes. You can get an update at the end of the week, or you can get real-time updates. You can get updates at the end of the day. So I will, yeah, I'm not sure where they moved it to, but I will find it, and then I will post an announcement on that. But you want to set up your Canvas so that when the professor sends an announcement, you want to get notice that there's a new announcement. You don't want to have to wait. And let's say you're not planning on logging into Canvas till the next day or the day after. You don't want to wait and find out you missed some information. So professors typically will publish reminders on when the live lessons are going to happen or the homework huddle lessons are going to happen. So you want to stay up on your announcements. And the best way to do that is to make sure you're getting notifications of those announcements and grades that have been posted, or other types of communication. Emails, you can get really elaborate, and you can get a notification every time somebody replies to one of your discussion posts. But I will post an announcement explaining how to change those settings. So that's again, dashboard here is another way where you can see the courses that you've signed up for. So you'll have in the very top, we'll have how many courses you're taking this term. And from that course, from that section, you can always open it up and go in right into the course and be into Canvas and work within there. So to recap, I will be publishing an announcement and a video on the DeVry desktop. I will be publishing an announcement and a video on some file management techniques, and I will go back and figure out the how to change the notifications within Canvas. But other than that, that is pretty much it. I hope you have a great semester. For those of you that are in my class, you have my cell phone number and my email address. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If for some reason the time slots don't work for you, just message me and I will see what I can do to accommodate another time slot for us to get together. You obviously can always ask me questions either via text or email. If you're having a problem with SimNet with one of the projects, it's probably best to send me a copy of your file so I can look at it. That's the best way for me to be able to help investigate what's going on. But that's all I had. Now, does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to stop the recording right now.